Honorable Chief Minister, Theru Stalin, Honorable Ministers, and other friends of Tamil Nadu, and especially Mr. Ram, who represents the soul, the voice of India. I wish to say, Honorable Chief Minister, Nunnery, for felicitating us, for joining you in this battle for defending the attacks on federalism, to enhance the autonomy of the state, and that opportunity was availed by us, and we were able to get this great victory for the Makkal of Tamil Nadu. Honorable Sir, this function gives me an opportunity to stand before the people of Tamil Nadu, which is the land of the great Cholas. I have been recently engrossed with writing a book on the history of India. Not only the freedom of struggle, but how the colonization began with the colonization crusades. And in the process, I learned about the history of the great Cholas, the other kings of the south. Unfortunately, in India, especially in the northern areas, we have been taught less about the history of the south. It is time that India knows more about the history of the south, more about the Cholas. The only time in history when the great Indian Ocean was controlled by the kings of India, it was at the time of the Cholas. It is the Cholas which took our thoughts, our religion to the southeast. Even today when we visit Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and other places, we find. So we must know more about the history, and in the process, not only the Cholas, the Rajshekharas of Kerala, the Pandavas, the Pallavas, the Rashtrakutas. It is the south which, for the strongest period, for the largest period, prevented the Islamic forces from coming to the south. Even great Akbar, as they say, could not cross the Vindhyas and enter the south. So this is one area. It was easy for any forces to walk into Delhi and straight walk into Calcutta. But south, even when the Bahmani empires were attacking, the Vijayanagar Empire and the other forces stood strong. This history is important because after the colonization period was over and the constitution was framed, then the states, the provinces in the south, the kingdoms in the south, they surrendered their powers to form a great country, a united country. How to unite was the question. And in the process, one of the very important idea was federalism. Namely that all states surrendered a large portion of their power to the center to make India strong. But at the same time, an exclusive zone of power was preserved for the states. The constitution is very large, as you all know, but it is large because they had to bring out how the two will relate, the center and the states, their interrelationship, and they knew that it involves friction. I'm, for one, speaking for myself, not afraid of friction, because friction leads to motion. Without friction, there cannot be motion. But friction should not cross the boundaries and turn into obstruction. If the center obstructs the states and the states start obstructing the center, how does the country remain? So federalism is very important, and it is this friction which we have seen that right from 1957 onwards, from time to time. I will not take the name of political parties because I am not interested so much in party politics. But we have seen that every center, whichever be the party, they tend to encroach upon the sphere of the state. And this is irrespective of who ruled the center at what point of time. And the states struggle to retain their power, both in the financial domain and in the administrative domain. So this struggle has been a continuous scenario, and I don't need to recount. All of you are aware of the various stages, the various forms it has taken. This particular case, which recently has been delivered by the Supreme Court, was another kind of friction. Earlier we had long back a case under section 309, who will decide? Court ruled after going through the whole constitution that it is the governor who has to act on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. In 356 case, Bombay, again, we saw continuously the state governments were upturned and they were not allowed to rule. Once again, the courts intervened in Bombay and they laid down stricter regimen to be followed before 356 power could be exercised. So in various areas this was done, but in the present case, we came directly, a situation arose where there was a friction involving the legislature. It was a case where laws had been passed by the legislature, not once but twice. But the governor decided initially to just sit over it, take no decision for more than 2 years. And then, when in a Punjab case, the Supreme Court said, no, you have no power to simply withhold. You can't say, I withhold. You are not a boss over the legislature. You are not a boss over the Council of Ministers, much less over the legislature. In the Punjab case, it was held. Then, it was assured by the Attorney General that they will speak and try to get things resolved. What does the governor do then? The governor takes out all the files over which he has been sitting for over 2 years, pigeonholing them. He takes them out and says, I withhold, I withhold, I withhold, and he sends it back. It's a very strange. He doesn't look into the Supreme Court judgment which says that if you are withholding, send it back to the House with a message. What is it? Why are you withholding? What is it that you want the House to consider? Again, first of all, in the Constituent Assembly, it was said that this is not your power. Even to send back, it is only when the Council of Ministers says, please send it back, and they want to have a look again for some provisions, then you can send it back. There is no scope for any discretion of the governor. That is what the Constituent Assembly said. There were some provisions which said you can act in his own discretion. They deleted it. So there was no scope. Yet he ignores the Supreme Court judgment and says, I withhold, I withhold, withhold. House passes the bills again. Then he lodges it to the president. I reserve it for the president's consideration. And president grants assent in 3 cases, 7 bills again pigeonholed. So now when certain people are saying regarding this judgment that this is an overreach by the Supreme Court when they say, one, that you decide within certain time limit, and 2, when they say that you can't directly give assent yourself. You should have asked the governor to give assent. Where is the overreach? It is very surprising. The president always acts on the aid and advice. The governor is supposed to act on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. Where was the overreach? I asked those persons, even occupying high office. Look at the overreach was done by the governor. Governor was sitting over the house of the people, the legislature, the Vidhan Sabha. Constitution says we the people have given this constitution. The Makkal is the sovereign. And who represents the Makkal? They have spoken in the election. And they have elected DMK and they have elected Thiru Stalin as the chief minister. So, you are overreaching the people's sovereignty. You are overreaching the Council of Ministers. You are overreaching the legislature. There lies the overreach and the Supreme Court has corrected it. Supreme Court has said, do not cross boundaries. And I must say that the governors must read the judgment carefully, sit up, analyze it, and act according to it. It is time. The governors are not agent of the center. Supreme Court has repeatedly said that. The governor is not the super legislature, he is not the super government. In fact, in the Constituent Assembly, many voices said that he should be elected. That was turned down for this very reason, that if he is elected, there will be two power centers. So governor as a power center was declined. So all the governors, why we call them Your Excellency. So you have to excel. You don't have to obstruct. You have to excel by being conscious of your duty to uphold the Constitution, to uphold parliamentary democracy, where the Council of Ministers headed by the Chief Minister, they are to run the government. You can rise to the occasion, you can meet the Chief Ministers, you can seek the information, you can advise, you can suggest. So act like a friend. It is astounding that a governor can ever act against his own government. After the election, the governor invites the leader of the party who has won the election to become the chief minister and to appoint other ministers. Now, the executive power is exercised to the Council of Ministers. If that is so, it is your government. Why are you obstructing it? It is a people's legislature. Why are you obstructing it? So governor's job is not to obstruct, not to hinder, but to help, suggest, advise. This is what the Supreme Court has said. Where is the overreach? And if the time limit is set, one aspect is very important regarding time limit. This question is important because Article 200 does not specify any time limit, and Supreme Court says so, that it doesn't specify time limit. Why then does it specify the time? One, under Article 200, it says governor has no discretion. If you have no discretion, you should stamp it in 7 days. Why 3 months? 3 months is too long. In an urgent act, a bill has been passed, why wait for 3 months? Sometimes you can't wait for 3 months. You have to immediately do it. And if the governor takes 3 months in an area where he has no discretion, he has to rubber stamp it. Just take it, as soon as you receive, stamp it. It's not your job to sit in judgment. That is the job of the court, to sit in judicial review. If somebody has a grievance, he will file a writ petition, challenge the act. If the court feels that it is to be struck down, it will strike down. Anybody who has to go to appeal will go to Supreme Court. So whole procedure is laid down in the Constitution. So here is a judgment which is historic, of great importance, and all the governors must take note of it, and they must act in accordance with. That is in the interest of constitutionalism, democracy, and people's sovereignty. With this, I thank once again the Honorable Chief Minister and the government of the state. Thank you.
உடனுக்குடன் செய்திகளை தெரிந்து கொள்ள சன் நியூஸ் பெல் ஐகானை கிளிக் பண்ணுங்க.